Welcome to the first episode of the BeXtraG podcast, the podcast where pop culture and nerd culture meet at the nexus of the universe and are melded as seamlessly as 8 tracks and Maybachs. Ooh. I am one of your hosts, Bretton Beswick, alongside my co-host, his body's a wonderland, Greg Filson.
Oh.
Greg, how are you this extra night this week?
My bubblegum toes are delicious. I'm doing well. I'm excited to do this. I'm nervous to do this because I know I'm going to leave something out, and I know my mom's going to listen, and she's like, what about this? This didn't do anything for you? And then I'm going to feel bad. So I'm ready for it, but, there's going to be some omissions that I'm probably going to be like, oh, yeah. It's lists, and lists are fun to make anyhow. Right. And I want to do more lists. And if people want us to list anything, let us know. I did
list our favorite bubblegum flavors.
Yeah, exactly. Mine. Oh, I don't want to spoil it just in case we have it. That's an episode.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as you kind of alluded to, we're gonna go through our top 10 favorite albums of all time. These aren't necessarily, at least my list is not necessarily in order the albums that I think are maybe the best albums. They're just my favorite albums.
That's how mine is too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote down 17, scratched 5 off, have 2 honorable mentions, and then we're going to go in descending order from 10 down to 1. We did also solicit feedback from the audience, and we did get some submissions that we'll go through. We'll put those in kind of along the way. Do you want to start with our 2 honorable mentions?
Yeah, I definitely do. Mine, these were tough because I would say, especially early on in my music listening, these were the 2 of the biggest inspirations of like why I like a certain type of music, and they both are way different music. Mine's 10 by Pearl Jam and Midnight Marauders by a Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
And 10 was kind of the reason I even got into 90s grunge. My mom loved it. I mean, she played it on cassette constantly. That was a lot of the reason why I like a lot of songs was that kind of early influence. And so 10 is huge, and then a Tribe Called Quest is literally the reason why I like rap. So it was hard to keep Midnight Marauders off my list, but then another rap album actually made it that I thought I could never beat that album, and here we are. I have an album that I think is a perfect rap album.
Okay, we'll see. I have 2 honorable mentions as well. Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms. So that is Money for Nothing, Walk of Life, Twisted by the Pool, and what I think is one of the most underrated rock songs of the 80s, which is The Sultans of Swing. I played that CD. It was my parents' CD. I played it until it skipped. I ruined it, basically. So that's my first honorable mention. The other one is I have to give a little bit of a nod to Bone Thugs and Harmony East 1999 Eternal, which was the first CD I ever purchased with my own money when I was 14 years old or so, thereabouts. So it was the first CD I ever bought. That would be The Crossroads, of course, and First of the Month and other Bone Thugs hits.
The first CD I bought, and it's not on this list, that I bought with my own money, Will Smith, Big Willie style.
Good.
Yeah.
So we'll get into a couple of the listeners.
No.
All right. We'll get into some of the listener submissions here. Our favorite punching bag, David S. from Carn City, writes in. His 2 favorite albums are Nelly, Country Grammar, and Garth Brooks, No Fences. Greg, take it away.
Well, obviously, those are maybe, I would argue, 2 of the greatest albums ever made.
Stop.
I will give Nelly his credit, and Garth Brooks is the legend. I'm not going to take it.
Yeah, he just won the Icon Award.
He just won the Icon Award, exactly. Nelly, in the moment, those songs were all over the place. You couldn't avoid them.
Was this pre or post Band-Aid?
I think this was in Band-Aid. I think it was during Bandage. Okay. Yeah. You were bonded to this bandage.
Ooh,
yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
What a selection right there.
Yeah. Way to go.
Imagine if that's all you listen to.
It might be all he listens to. It is Carn City. The rest of the music hasn't made its way there yet. Melissa B. writes in, says her favorite album is No Strings Attached.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, that's what she says.
I would not have guessed that.
Bye. Is that bye?
Yeah.
I
was honestly thinking she was going to go JT solo. Not. I mean, I'm not against NSYNC. I was open with my NSYNC fandom as a teenager. I was fine. I was just shocked that she would go because, I'm not spoiling my list, but yeah.
Right. So sure. Let's do one more of these. Tyler M, aka Bob Sacamano. Yeah, he writes in, and he has hit my 2 honorable mentions on his list. Bone Thugs, East 1999 Eternal, Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms, and then number 1 for him is Nas Illmatic.
Yeah, Nas, it was tough to leave off my list. Nas is probably, if we extend this to top 20, he actually probably he might make it twice. Nas is one of my favorites. He was, right after Tribe Called Quest, he's probably like right up there and, hey, you like rap music because of this person.
Yeah. Illmatic's great. That album's classic, for sure.
So I have no disagreement there. I actually am shocked that Dire Straits is not in your top 10.
Oh, yeah?
Because you and I listened to a lot of Dire Straits as youngsters together, and so
yeah, that was that's a Bob Bestwick classic there. All right, you want to get into? Why don't we go like 10 through 7, and then we'll do some more listener ones.
Yeah,
okay.
For sure.
Do you want to go first? You want to rock paper scissors?
Yeah, let's rock paper scissors.
All right. It's 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Yeah, rock,
paper,
scissors, shoot. I don't.
Scissors.
What'd you put?
Scissors.
Okay. All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
You got rock.
All right, you go first.
Okay. All right. So.
Oh, I got rock on this list. It's all over it.
I have some. I will start off by saying that my list, I didn't do this intentionally at all, and if you include the honorable mentions, I scale every decade from the 60s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
8 out of 10. Here's just a little bit of insight. 8 out of 10 of mine are rock albums.
I'm all over the place. I couldn't give you anything.
Yeah.
As in anybody that knows me or is new to, even if you're new, I love a lot of different music genres, and I'm sad I don't have Sturgill Simpson on here because he's now one of my favorite people. It's great stuff, but anyhow, I digress. 1989 by Taylor Swift is my 10.
Okay.
I love Taylor Swift. This was her 5th album, which is hard to believe because that came out in 2014, and she's had really good albums since then too, including her latest, Folklore. But this is the album where I feel like you get the Taylor Swiftiness of Taylor Swift. Like, this is, you have Shake It Off, which is made primarily to just be a hit. Get stuck in your ear. Yeah. You're crushing it. That was made for that. But then it has, just so many good songs. You can start from the beginning. And New Romantics is, I think it's New Romantics or Style is probably my favorite song on the album. It depends what place I'm in. Any one of these songs, I can listen to at any time, and it pumps me up. Taylor Swift has saved my life driving many times. One time with you.
I was gonna say.
One time with you in DC, Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift saved us 36 hours of not being able to sleep. Yeah, and this is why I've loved all her albums, even when she was doing country. I love that. I love what she does now, and I think this, and she has a long career ahead of her, but up to this point, to me, this is her quintessential album, and I can't enjoy it enough. I listened to it 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I like this just as much as I did in 2014.
Okay. Number 10 for me is AC/DC Back in Black.
Yes.
This is... So when I kind of did this, it's the list was very much what albums was I listening to at different points that I remember specifically listening to those albums, and this is just one of those ones that I was listening to in sort of like my early middle school, or I guess late middle school years, 14, 15, somewhere in that area. There's just so many hits on this. Hell's Bells, Shoot to Thrill, Back in Black, Shook Me All Night Long, Have a Drink on Me. There's just it's easily, I think it's easily AC/DC's best album. AC/DC is they're a legendary, iconic rock band, hard rock, metal, if you want to go that far. I don't really think they're metal. I think they're just like kind of like nice, sort of hard classic rock. But it's probably the hardest rock album I have on here. I just remember this album, and it's still one that every now and again, Shoot to Thrill's synonymous with Iron Man at this point, right? So, between that and Back in Black itself, and it being a tribute album to the late great Bon Scott, I just think that it's one of those all-time classic rock albums.
It really is. You just got me fired up talking about it. I actually had the AC/DC live album as a kid, which...
Yep, that's a good one.
I didn't want to put live albums on here because that's just...
Well, we should clarify that we did establish the rules that there were not going to be any greatest hits or compilation albums. Soundtracks are fair game. We decided to leave off the greatest hits in the compilation albums because otherwise mine would have all just been now that's what I call music volume, whatever, and Kids Bop.
Janie just sent me a text saying that her first purchase with her own money was a Now because it had Lucky by Britney Spears on it. So
good.
Yeah.
Should have been a Kids Bop with Lucky from Britney Spears on it.
Yeah, Lucky.
Right.
Yeah. Great song. She's very much a star forever in my heart. I don't have a Britney Spears album on my list, spoiler.
Neither do I. Do you know what Britney Spears and I have in common?
You like small furniture?
Well, we're not a girl. Not a woman.
Look up Britney Spears small furniture.
Okay.
She loves small furniture.
All right, number 9. Are we going every other? Or are we doing snake draft?
Snake draft.
All right, so I'll do number 9 for me is Incubus Make Yourself. And
great
I've alluded to listening to the same Incubus album for the last 25 years or whatever, 21 years. Let's see, Consequence, Stellar's a great song. It's one of my favorite songs. Drive, Pardon Me, another great one. And then when they rolled this over and did a lot of the acoustic stuff with it, was even more interesting and made it even better. I went to Ozfest as a 15 or 16-year-old, and this was the reason why. It was because it was when Make Yourself had come out and Incubus was one of the smaller bands on the main stage, and I wanted to see them. I don't remember anything about seeing them, but because it was so long ago. But that's number 9 for me.
Wow. I'm going to tell you right now, I have a feeling my mom's going to like your list more than mine. She's at this point, she's like, Greg better have Incubus on here. I don't. That's a great album. I'm like, now this is where I start to get feelings about all this stuff, because I love that album too. Incubus is one of those bands I haven't seen live yet, and I still want to at some point, because I think they're just awesome. I mean,
they probably kill it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he just seems like a great front man, and that's that is a great album. Holy cow. Okay, but we got to move on. I can't keep getting mad at myself. So I'm up next, right? All right.
Yep.
Okay. This is a pretty easy one if you know me and you know where I'm at with music. The Killers, Sam's Town. I love the Killers.
See, I just had one of those moments, not about the Killers, but
sure,
another one
I know.
that I'd like
it's
to.
Just one of those, we're gonna have those moments. I love the Killers. I really loved Hot Fuzz, but when Sam's Town came out, my buddy Matt and I in college wrote a review of it in our student paper, and one thing we said is we don't know if this is going to get appreciated now, but we think 5-6 years down the road, people are going to come back and be like, this album is incredible. Then 6 years later, Rolling Stone wrote a retroactive review and gave it a higher rating, because they're like, we didn't know, they admitted that like we weren't ready for it. And it's just, when you were young, Bob Sacramento and I used to sing that together because he called it the greatest song of all time. Oh, snap. He loved that song. We used to jam out to this album all the time. I dressed up as Brandon Flowers for Halloween one year. I just wore even skinnier pants than I normally do. Skinny tie, silver shirt. I love the Killers. This is my favorite album still, and they have a new album out now that's actually really good too. If you're a Killers fan, you should check it out. But just a great album. It's as hard of music that I can listen to without just going full like AC/DC. Like then I just want to just bounce my head off a wall. But sure. The Killers, I love it. I love this particular album because it's so different than everything else they do, too.
This is a complete aside. It's just thinking about you in skinny jeans. Have you ever heard of the band The Bravery?
Oh, yeah. That guy loves skinny jeans, or they all do.
Well, okay. So it was one of those shows that they get like at the end of the year at whatever like state school, and I went to Clarion, so they had this every year for, I forget what the heck they called it, Campus Fest or some nonsense. And it was Colby Calais whenever she was like a thing. And Melissa really liked her, so I brought her up. And then The Bravery went on after. And the whole time, the bass player looked so much like you and had pants on that were so tight that I was just like this. Like,
does Brenton's giving a really funny look. Yeah.
Does Greg play bass?
I don't.
Will time let him go? Like, what is happening? Did he make an honest mistake? I mean, I don't understand what's going on right now. But
Bravery references for those not aware.
Those are two songs by The Bravery. I'm like looking at him. I'm like, no, maybe no, too tall. That's what we landed on. He was too tall to be you.
He reaches over 6 feet. Then that's probably the case. Yeah. I have a long torso, but that for whatever reason I stopped in 5'10".
That's a strange attribute to have,
isn't it?
All right, I think it's
I'm like Michael Phelps.
Whose turn is it?
It's my turn because it's Snake Draft. Okay, this is my favorite rap album ever. This is my beautiful.
Can I
dark
guess
twisted.
it?
Oh,
you just said. Never mind. Okay.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say Jay-Z thing, but I'll be honest with you. I almost put. Go ahead and finish it. I almost put that on.
I like Jay-Z fine. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is my favorite rap album of all time. I think it's perfect. I don't think
it almost made the cut. It almost made the cut on mine.
To me, not a single thing wrong with it. It has so many people on it that is just insane. Bon Iver, Rihanna, my absolute girl. I can't believe I left her off this list. Oh my god. Can't believe I left her off this list. But anyhow, it's incredible. They're all the lights. All of the lights is one of the best. Power. I mean, Devil in a New Dress with Rick Ross is just John Legend is on this album. It is a great rap album. It's beautiful. He was in it is beautiful. Kanye was in a weird place. He's always in a weird place in his life. And, whatever things are going on with him now, I hope things change because I loved Kanye West. I mean, those first albums up till really this point, and this is such a fantastic album. It would be higher, except I think it's because he's just the way he is now, and it's harder for me to listen to him and enjoy him as much as I want to. I listened to it last week, and I'm like, this is still really good, but Kanye just messes with me sometimes, in a sense. So. Yeah, that's my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Okay, number 8 for me is the Black Panther soundtrack. It's my first rap album. Black Panther soundtrack was curated for the movie by Kendrick Lamar. He's on it all over the place. Kendrick's on with, Season for one of the title tracks. The Weeknd's on it, Vince Staples and Eugen Blackrock. A couple other, I just felt like I feel like it fits the film so perfectly. I really like Kendrick. I would say that pick an album, they're all better than this, but it was just something about how the soundtrack fit the movie, and then it's just so listenable on its own, is really what puts it on the list for me.
Yeah, it's a great album. Other than probably my favorite soundtrack is the Drive soundtrack. I have driven around with just that playing, and all you want to do is have the cops chase you. And get away from them in a freaking Chevy 4-door. That's a great call. I thought you were going to have it on there when we discussed it. We could have soundtracks. I was like, he's going to go Black Panther soundtrack or Titanic. It was a toss-up.
Okay. Let's do a couple more listener submissions.
Sounds good.
Why don't you read one of the ones that came your way?
Okay. So Janie, my girlfriend, she got in on this. She said she doesn't really know. Like, she gave me 10, no specific order. Sure. So I'm gonna read them in the order that I have them, as if I were reading a book. So left to right, and then going down. I think that's how I read a book. Okay. Yeah. So When We All Fall Asleep, where do we go? Billie Eilish. 21 by Adele, which you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think that might be the last album I bought as an actual album, like an actual CD, I should say. Like we bought records and stuff, but actual CD, I think that might be the last one. Off the Wall, Michael Jackson, incredible.
I bet you the last album I bought was Nickelback.
Nice. Everyone has, Nickelback. That's one thing I don't do. I don't shame other people's musical choice, Brendan. If Nickelback was the last album you bought, then so be it. Even if you're joking, which maybe you are. I don't know. I can't judge because you're covering your face. But I don't judge people's musical choices. Whatever gets you through without killing someone and you can go through your day, if it's Nickelback, then take a photograph. Anyhow. Here's where we go together. 1989, Taylor Swift. Mm-hmm. Chromatica by Lady Gaga, which is a great album. When she went that direction, I was proud of her. That was great. Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. Continuum by John Mayer. Born to Die by Lana Del Rey. Rumors, Fleetwood Mac. And With the Beatles by a little-known band, The Beatles. Yeah.
That's not bad. Let's see. I
would listen to any of those right now if I had to.
I probably would listen to like half of them, but that's just me. I have an acquired taste. Let's go.
Do you want me to do another one from?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You, so, do Paul, gentleman I work with at the bookstore, he's
Paul Rudd.
No, Paul
Damn
Rail.
it.
He is a man of exquisite taste in music. He's introduced me to a lot of stuff. He's an older gentleman, but he is with it. I mean, he's also introduced me to stuff that's come out in the past 15 years because he just here's his list, and same thing. It's not really a 10-1. It's just boom. Paul Butterfield Blues Band, East West. Moby Grape, self-titled album. Graham Parker, Squeezing Out Sparks. Have you listened to Graham Parker, Breton?
It sounds familiar, but
It's
I don't
really
know
you
that
would
I
like it.
have.
I think of what he has on here. This is you would like. I would have you listen to Graham Parker. Elvis Costello, Next Year's Model. Great cover for an album, by the way. He's really just rocking out Elvis Costello style. Richard and Linda Thompson. I went to see the Bright Lights tonight. Neil Young. Everybody knows this is Nowhere. The Band, also a self-titled album. The Clash, London Calling. The
classic.
Blasters, also awesome. The Blasters, incredible. Testament, and then Hot Tuna, Hopcorv. Yeah,
Hot tuna.
Hot Tuna. It's good. I've listened to that too.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm on number 7.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I'm actually going to call an audible. I'm going to take the one that I had in my number 7 off, and I'm going to put something else on.
Do it. I like this.
Check Razor Omaha.
Oh man,
Omaha.
man, this is incredible. If Aaron Rodgers did this, broadcasters would lose their mind. They wouldn't know what
Right.
to do with themselves.
Oh, Omaha. All right. Originally in that spot, I had Stone Temple Pilots Purple. I am removing that. I'm going to set it aside.
Making my mom upset right now by taking Stone Temple Pilots off.
Well, that's fine. I'm putting in the Raconteurs Consoler of the Lonely.
Great album.
Yeah, if you remember, we listened to that pretty extensively when you and a young man with a delicious rump, Nate Millhouse, drove to Cincinnati for a Reds game. I think it was there and back. I think we listened to that and the Killers album. That album was just like it's beefy. It's like 14 tracks. They're all pretty. They're not short. It's real bluesy. It's real, it's got good guitar riffs. It's got good hooks. Jack White does his thing with a full band. I think that the Raconteurs is the best version of Jack White. I think it's definitely better than the White Stripes. No offense to the White Stripes. Meg White's playing on a Guitar Hero drum set. I just think that the Raconteurs is just a better sound overall than Jack White's solo stuff or when he's playing the instruments and not singing with the Dead Weather. But I think this is of the Raconteur albums, this is definitely the best one.
Yeah, I really like. I mean, I think you and I feel the same way with that. The Jack White preference of. He's a legend of the guitar, and the Raconteurs, you get that. You get I think he would even say that. I think he would say this is the best version you're going to get of Jack White is the Raconteurs.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I think it's your turn.
All right, this is
your number 7.
This was
you,
one that 7. This is where it would seem higher just based on what I enjoy, but I have Grateful Dead, American Beauty. I love the Grateful Dead. This album is nothing but hits. In the sense of a Grateful Dead fan. The biggest thing that just makes this 7 instead of higher is that the Grateful Dead, or as I see them in concert, Dead and Company, or if you listen to the live albums, which I excluded live albums because that's just,
right.
It would be,
Yeah, it's a greatest hits thing, basically.
Right, exactly. So you see Dead and Company live, or you've listened to Grateful Dead live. That's such a better experience than their albums are really, really good, but this album's short. You go to a Grateful Dead concert, you might be there for 3.5, 4 hours.
Jam band.
Just jamming out. Yeah. I mean,
Getting
and
high
my
as
boy
a
John
kite.
Mayer plays with them now, and it's no one can ever replace Jerry Garcia, but he does a great job of mimicking or taking it for his own, not really even mimicking. But this has Box of Rain, Ripple, Sugar Magnolia, and then Truckin'. Might be the song that everyone knows. I think everyone knows Truckin' by Grateful Dead. So number 7 for me. Broke Down Palace is also on this, which I can't. If I talk about it too much, I'll just start crying because I love that song. But Grateful Dead, American Beauty, number 7.
Okay.
And then here we go. All right. Am I going again? Yeah,
Snake
Draft.
Snake
I keep
Draft.
forgetting it's a Snake Draft. This was tough to put low too, but I think it's mostly just my age more than anything. I tend to gear youngish the rest of the way, pretty much. But Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. I could go a lot of different directions with Fleetwood Mac. I started listening to the first album, the very first Fleetwood Mac album today again after I listened to it 3 or 4 months ago. It's incredible. It's way different. but this is the album you go to when you think of Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what can I really say about it? It's great. Everybody's great on it. It's a breakup album. It's a makeup album. It's just a cheating album. It's what you want from music, you know. So I'm not gonna say anything that no one said before about it, other than it makes loving fun.
They were in the midst of basically after this they broke up, right?
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, I mean, they like still did. I mean, they were still together, but it was just, you know, it wasn't the same, and you know, there's interchangeable parts with everything. But this is, I mean, this is where like they were somehow everyone was fighting with each other, but they were still able to do an album that together, and not like the White Album where the Beatles just did everything separate and then they put it together.
Right.
This was an album where they hated each other, but we were able to still do this, and that's. I mean, and when you listen to it, you're just like, this is intense. And if you watch Stevie Nicks sing live and just look at the rest of the band sometimes, it's pretty funny because she is putting some white witch voodoo on these people. Yeah, from this era. I think they all get along now. I think they're fine. Yeah. They're all drinking cranberry juice and riding skateboards.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. All right, number 6 for me is Audioslave self-titled album, their first album. So Audioslave, for anybody that doesn't know, is Chris Cornell from Soundgarden and everybody from Rage Against the Machine except the lead singer. And Audioslave, this was like, to me, like lightning in a bottle, where they just came together for one album and it was incredible, and then they just never really recaptured that magic. The second CD, or the second album, just wasn't as good, wasn't on the same plane, and I don't even know if they did a third one. But the first one, Like a Stone, I am the Highway, Cochise, great songs, great rock songs. Tom Morello doing his thing on the guitar, playing it in a way that other people never even imagined that it could be played. Chris Cornell, in my opinion, Chris Cornell is one of the best pure rock vocalists that ever lived. You
100%.
hear him on...
You reeled my mom so far back into this list, and she's like, who is my son in this one? Brenton or Greg? Because your list is so geared towards my mom. It's incredible. I love it.
It's just a fantastic album. It just cuts.
It really is
so good, and it's really a shame that they couldn't really recapture that magic. You know, and I know the Rage guys went back to, you know, whatever that guy's name is, and they're doing their thing, and Chris Cornell unfortunately passed away. He'd been doing some stuff with Soundgarden again. But this Audioslave album was just, in my opinion, just as close to a perfect rock album as you can get.
Yeah, it's just such... I think the thing is, Chris Cornell just was made for that band. Mm-hmm. It is weird to say when you hear the way that they rock out, it's just, he does things vocally that no one can do. Or could do, but he could hit those high notes. But boy, he really just gripped you in to that music. And if we did just rock albums, this is maybe 2 or 3 for me. Really, I thought that album was incredible. I can't stress that enough. Really, that's a great pick. That's a great
album. Number 5 for me is
The Woo.
The Woo.
The Woo. Woo is in the building.
Wu-Tang Forever. Now, I know most people would probably pick 36 Chambers. For me, Wu-Tang Forever is my favorite Wu-Tang album. It's a double CD. Triumph is a great song. To me, Wu-Tang Clan is different than so many other hip-hop acts out there. There's so many disparate parts. They all come together. They're a sum of greater than their parts when they're together. And the RZA, Bobby Digital, is just an incredible producer, and he harnesses all these guys and puts them in the room together and just really makes something special. On most of their albums, and like I said, most people would probably say of the well-known Wu-Tang albums that 36 Chambers is probably better, but for me, Wu-Tang Forever is the pick.
I can't disagree. You, me, Bob Sacramento, we all love the Wu.
Right. It's for the children.
It is. It really
Wu-Tang
is for the children.
For the children.
Yeah, man. Gosh, I love Woo. That's a great. I mean, like you said, 36 Chambers is maybe technically a better album, but I don't think. I mean, it's just whatever way you can represent the Woo in this list, I respect it because I love Wu-Tang Clan. That's a great pick. Your picks are great because they're not the picks that I have for my albums. I'm glad we're not like. I knew there wasn't going to be any cross.
I thought there might be one.
Really?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get to the end. I thought there might be one.
I don't know what it could be now at this point. With what we have left, I'm not sure.
Right. All right. Let's do a couple more from the listeners. I have Charles C. Favorite albums: Tool, Lateralis, Metallica, S&M, Marshall Mathers LP. I'll tell you what, that Tool album is actually, if you like hard rock, that's a really good album.
That's a really good album.
I actually saw them live over in Youngstown with a friend of mine, and they put on a hell of a show. They really do. You know, they're kind of weird and, you know, dark and whatever, but they put on a really good hard rock show. I had a lot of fun. Cool. So that's a good. I like that list. Metallica, S&M. Is Metallica live with a symphony behind them. It makes some of their songs sound really weird if you've never heard this album, but it makes some of them. It takes a lot of them to another level. So I think that's a good pick too. And Marshall Mathers is a great pick too.
Yeah, those are great picks. And nothing against that.
Yep.
I never would anyhow. And like I said.
Yeah, right. Me neither, unless it's Nickelback. Maggie G, number 1. Then Play On, Fleetwood Mac, Moon Safari, Air, Soft Sounds from Another Planet, Japanese Breakfast. Live at a Flamingo Hotel, Dr. Dog. Not to be confused with one of my daughter's favorite books, Dr. Duck.
Nice. Dr. Duck, does he also have an album in that book?
He doesn't.
Oh, someday.
Well, maybe. They all agree he was the greatest doctor ever.
Oh, okay. Is he related to Dr. Dre?
Excuse me. No, he's not.
Okay. Where did he get his PhD?
I think he's a veterinarian. So.
Oh, okay.
It would be a PhD. He'd be an MD.
Oh, yeah, be an MD. I'm sorry. Well, I didn't know what kind of... I don't know. I didn't know if he was a doctor. Yeah. So he's a medical doctor.
Yeah, sure. Zoologist.
Okay.
And...
is this an honorary degree?
Why don't you go ahead and read Scott's... Or do I have that?
You have Scott's.
Scott. Okay. Pogus? Is that how that's said?
I think it's Pogus.
Pogus, If I Should Fall from Grace with God. Smiths, The Queen is Dead. Tool, 10,000 Days. Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions, and Bowie, Black Star. Another Tool shout out there.
Yeah, two Tools. I wasn't expecting that, but I listened to that too. And Black Star by David Bowie is his last album. If you haven't listened to it, it's weird and it kind of bums you out because of he knew the end was near. But boy, it's a great Bowie album. And we were talking today about it actually, and you'd rather just give Bowie like a Nobel Prize for music because it's hard to just pick one thing from him, but if you have to, he thought Black Star was a nice representation.
Okay, yeah, I dig it. I'm down with it. Okay, so that brings us into our top 5. Well, I already did my number 5, but I believe it is your now.
It is mine. 5. I'm gonna move it. I'm switching.
Oh, Omaha.
I'm just switching.
Omaha.
Number 5 for me. It doesn't change.
Hot route.
Out. Yeah, I had to do it. So Michael Jackson, Bad is number 5 for me. It's my favorite Michael Jackson album, simply because I think it actually has my favorite Michael Jackson song, and that's The Way You Make Me Feel, which is not a lot of directions that people go when they say their favorite Michael Jackson song. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it also has just absolute frickin' bangers with Bad, Smooth Criminal, Dirty Diana. I mean, it does all these things, and it's still when Michael Jackson was cool.
Right.
I think, he looks cool on the album. The Smooth Criminal video is iconic. The moonwalk. I mean, this is just, if you could just stop right there with Michael Jackson.
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. What does Michael Jackson wipe his butt with?
I don't know.
TP.
That's pretty good. Oh, you threw me off here, but yeah.
Shimon.
Yeah. So this is. I just switched around because I still wanted to have him in my top 5, but I think the next album, no one's going to be shocked by this.
Okay, it's your turn. So go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Ad.
No, it's yours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Snake Draft.
Okay.
Number 4.
Future, sex, love, science. Future, sex, This is just, for me, just one of my, obviously one of my favorite albums, but just one of my favorite moments in life, because I remember going back in college and our entire newspaper group was a bunch of Justin Timberlake fans. So we all decided, hey, we're going to go to the record store at 8 o'clock in the morning and we're just all going to buy this album.
That will never be a thing again as long as this world is spinning on its axis.
Isn't it crazy? And so we all met up, and that was also a Globe day, so we knew we'd be up early and we knew we'd be out late, like doing the paper. And we all got it, and we went to the office, and we just listened to this album on repeat the entire day. And if somebody came in and said, hey, we just heard this, we told them to get out. This was it for, honestly, the good part of, like, 17 hours. It was a great moment. I think that's why it holds such a... And then I saw it in concert. Melissa, your wife, was at the same concert. She got me a poster. I have a mug from this.
I was not there.
It was just like a free poster that somebody handed out, and she got two of them, one for me.
Okay.
I can't even pick a favorite song. I wish I could, but, you know, Love Stone probably was my favorite at the time, but now that I'm, like, looking this up, I, like, could go all over the place. And I don't think My Love, great video. I used to do the dance at people's weddings if this came up. I had the dance down pat. I think I did it at your wedding.
Maybe.
Actually, I think I know I did. With the chicken hat on. Great album.
Well, you did the chicken dance with the chicken hat on.
Yeah, I got knighted. I got knighted there.
Right.
If I got knighted by the queen, I would still take the chicken hat knighted as a better moment.
That's fair. Number 4 for me is the Foo Fighters, The Color and the Shape. This is, so I can't remember if we talked about, at some point we talked about our favorite concerts. Just in passing, and the Foo Fighters were my favorite concert until the Jay-Z and Justin Timberlake concert at Hershey Park. But the Foo Fighters, I saw them in Cleveland. This was like right after Skin and Bones came out, which is their acoustic album, and they're up for like an hour and a half. They're jamming, rock on, bro, and all this. And then from where we were standing, because we had floor seats, which was really just wherever you could get to, they bring down from the ceiling a stage, and they come out and they do probably, 35, 45 minutes of acoustic. It was a lot of this. It was, My Hero and Monkey Wrench, and of course Everlong. Everlong's probably one of my favorite songs of all time. The Foo Fighters are one of my favorite bands, and I think that this was Color and the Shape is easily their best early album, for sure, for me.
This is where I immediately mad at myself because I left this album off my list.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I think a lot of times the groups I left off my list is because I just couldn't pick. Because I really like a lot, like I don't have David Bowie on here because I like so much stuff, and I couldn't, like, and I wish I could, if it was compilation, Foo Fighters are on here. If you have the best of, Foo Fighters are in my top 5 probably. I mean, it's one of those things. But as like solo standalone albums, they didn't have anything that completely stood out to me on this list. I mean, this album's really, really good. But generally speaking, I usually just put this on if I'm listening to Foo, I just put it on, my Apple Music as just Foo Fighters, and it just plays. Right. Whatever.
Well, that's the thing was I struggled. Well, I wanted to put Skin and Bones on, but I felt like that's a live thing, and it's almost like a greatest hits thing, so I just had to pick one. So that's the one that I went with. Number 3 for me is Led Zeppelin 4. Greatest rock album of all time. Prove me wrong.
I'm going to argue with you on that, because also it's your definition of rock, so rock can be anything, and I'm not going to argue with you on it.
Are you from Carn City?
No, I'm not going to argue with you on it. What am I going to say other than Nickelback? I can't.
Well, it was a great show, and we had a good run. We got 5 episodes.
By the way, Nickelback owes us money for this pod. We've mentioned them 3 times. So maybe they should send it. Maybe they should pay for an ad.
You know what? I think we found the one thing that I wouldn't read an ad for. Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven, obviously one of if not the greatest rock song of all time. Black Dog, When the Levee Breaks, Battle of Evermore. It's just nonstop classic rock perfection from beginning to end on this album. And what can't you say about Stairway to Heaven? It's one of the best songs ever. Period. Full stop.
It was the theme for my senior prom.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably the theme for a lot of people's senior prom.
Yeah.
It was the last song played at every single one of my school dances when I was in high school.
Sure.
Yeah.
It,
It's perfect.
it's
It's a
your
perfect
dad,
song.
It was your dad's favorite album?
Maybe. I can't remember if he was more of a Pink Floyd guy. I know that he saw Led Zeppelin at Three River Stadium and sat either on or in the dugout because they had the they played on the field or whatever, and he had field level seats, and I remember him saying that he either played or either sat in or on the dugout. Yeah, I mean, he was a huge Zeppelin guy. My mom's loves Zeppelin. I think it was my dad that probably likes Zeppelin more, and my mom likes Pink Floyd more. But either or, I mean, that's kind of where I got a lot of my preferences from, as most people do, from their parents. But they were both big rock people for sure.
You got your preferences from my mom as well, and I didn't. So this is
apparently.
Apparently, she's gonna be so sad. I'm sorry, Mom. I still love you. I hope you love me. Okay, sorry. Am I on to mine now?
Yeah. I think number 3. Yeah.
Yeah, number 3. Oh no, yeah, number 3. This is my highest rated pop album. It's my favorite pop album ever. It's Lady Gaga. It's Born This Way. I have listened to this album.
Shouldn't it have been Hatched this way?
It could.
Because shouldn't she come out of an egg?
She came out of an egg. Yeah.
Which came first, the Gaga or the egg?
I don't know. The egga. Egga. I don't know. This is as perfect for me as a pop album gets. When you go strictly pop, I mean, there's bands out there that verge in between pop and rock or whatever, but this is as pop as what you want. The album starts with "Merry of the Night," which gets me so fired up every single time I hear it. She's so great. It goes from "Merry Night," "Born This Way." Then you go into like some weird music. She gets super weird on this album, which I love. Not as weird as she does in Art Pop, but I really like that album too. But that's just a whole different thing. But it's a long album, which I don't generally like. But I don't care with this one. This was a workout album for me. This was I'm gonna just sit and chill. I need to feel better about things. I'm gonna listen to Lady Gaga Born This Way because it's like an uplifting album, which was the intent. No matter what you wanted, for the most part, this is my favorite album of hers, and all her albums are great. This is the best. I love Lady Gaga, and this album is quintessential. And I don't think it will ever be top for me pop. I don't think there'll ever be another pop album that will ever beat this.
Fair. Number 2 for you.
This is my favorite solo musician ever. It's
Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, yeah, damn it. Well, now I'm mad again. I left somebody else off. This is John Mayer. This is Continuum.
I really liked how you said that just now because it sounded a lot like Pat Bateman saying, "This is Sussudio."
And it's the same thing. If I were a serial killer,
right.
I would play this, and I could go ad nauseum about this album.
Right.
I have listened to this album more than any other album other than the number 1 album on this list, and that's just because that album has been out for a billion years. This album is perfect. This was when John Mayer still had like number 1 hits, which I don't really care about because his albums post this are so really good, and he's not trying to do that kind of stuff anymore. I think if he actually set out his way to actually do it, he could. He doesn't care about this. It's still bluesy, which is where in his heart is where I think he tries to go with his music. And then it has Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, my favorite John Mayer song, and it has Gravity, which is how he closes out live concerts. To see him do Gravity, I'm giving myself chills right now. To see him do Gravity live to end a concert is, no matter what you think of his music, where he goes in another level of guitar, and it's always different. I've seen him so many times, and I've seen him play Gravity. One time he did it in the middle of a concert, but he always goes on a riff. It's incredible. It's different every time. If you want to see a really good rendition of it, and you're not going to see him live, there's a Brazil, him playing in this huge crowd. He plays Gravity. He's sweaty. It's hot. He puts the guitar on the ground. He's playing it like that. I'm at a loss for words. This is where I reel my mom back in. It's it was hard for me not to put this number one, but then I had to realize, like, I had to put the other one number one. I absolutely love this album. I think anyone listening to this needs to go back, and even if you don't, whatever you think of a genre, this is a great album. Just sit back, let it take over you, because The Heart of Life was good. I'm going to be in repair after not having it number one.
I got news for you. Sherry's probably headed back over my way.
Okay.
Now, here goes the thing, right? Number one and number two, I'm shocked that one of these didn't land on your list. And I agonized over in which order I was going to put these. However, I had to make a decision. The decision has been made. So number two is going to be Red Hot Chili Peppers' Blood Sugar Sex Magic. This is the album where the Chili Peppers really took off, really came into their own. It was John Frusciante's second album as the guitar player. I think this is where, Anthony kind of realized a little bit maybe what he had as far as not just being like a rock rap kind of guy, but actually being a fairly talented vocalist as well. It's long. It's a really long CD, and it's funky, and it's got great bass lines, and it's got, good like rock rap melodies or whatever. Under the Bridge is a great song. Give It Away obviously is an iconic song. But there's other songs on there that are great as well. That are maybe lesser known. The Power of Equality is a great song. Sir Psycho Sexy makes me feel really uncomfortable if I hear it in social situations. You weren't there. I saw them after they put out I'm With You, which was the first album after John left the second time, and I saw him in Pittsburgh, and they played like half of this. They played like a few new songs, and they played a few songs from a couple of the other newer albums, and they played like half the songs on Blood Sugar Sex Magic. It's an album that I still play constantly to this day. It came out in the early 90s. I was but a wee lad, but it's just, especially, I think everybody knows the main two are Give It Away and Under the Bridge, and those are two of the most famous songs from the Chili Peppers. So the Chili Peppers are number two, and then the Chili Peppers are number one.
I was going to say, is Californication number one?
It is. Californication's number one. It is my favorite album of all time. So many hits, and then even the songs that aren't necessarily hits would have been hits if they were on other albums. Californication, Scar Tissue, Other Side, Parallel Universe, Get on Top, Road Trippin'. All these songs are, and there's a lot of bands out there who would take the third best song on this album, and it would be their first best song.
I think they would take the worst song in this album, and it would be their first best.
A lot of them.
This is actually the one of all those. This is the one where I'm like, and I thought about it, but I didn't know where to replace it. Because I wanted to represent them, and then I couldn't because I wasn't sure where to replace it, because I think it was the Foo Fighters thing for me, where it's like, I love everything, even the newer stuff, and I was like, I don't know what I could pick. And, if maybe down the road we do a thing where we actually include like compilation albums, we would just take maybe the best of or something. I don't know. Or best live, something like that. Best live or best whatever. I mean, the Red Hot Chili Peppers are super high on this list for me.
We saw them together. Stadium Arcadium's tour. I have that on the list. That was one on the initial list of 17, and then I scratched it off because I didn't want to have 3 Chili Peppers albums on here.
Yeah.
So that was the one that didn't make the cut. And I even considered putting By the Way on. So if you're listening, can't tell, the Chili Peppers are my favorite band. But with that being said, I don't love their new stuff. I'm With You was like okay, and then The Getaway was just like, no.
Yeah, The Getaway was
I
a
don't
little
like
weird.
this.
Yeah.
And, I think that there's a reason why they brought John Frusciante back. And it's not to say that Josh was a poor musician or anything. I just think that John's relationship with Flea and the music that they make together is just on a different level in terms of it's like Michael and Scotty. You know what I mean? They know where the other person's going to be, when they're going to be there, and how to make the play. I would say if you want to see that in action, probably on YouTube there's a clip of them playing Californication from Live at Slane Castle, which is a DVD live show that they did. Just watch that, and it'll show you everything you need to know about those two playing on stage together. It's just, the chemistry is just, it's electric.
I can't disagree with you. I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It bums me out this is only 10, because they're in, Californication is definitely in my top 20 albums ever. Blood Sugar Sex Magic probably isn't. It's such a long album, and that's one thing that always kind of like throws me. For long albums always kind of drag me down because I just want to move things along. But it's still a really good album. I'm not going to disagree with you there. It has, like you said, probably the most popular songs. My favorite song ever by the Red Hot is Scar Tissue. So to have that on there is, it's a great album. I don't think any Red Hot Chili Peppers fan would disagree with you. I don't think anyone that enjoys rock music would disagree with you on the fact that Red Hot Chili Peppers are, high up on any list. It's a great album. They're a great band. That's a great number one. I'm not shocked. I had a feeling you were going I wasn't sure if it was going to be Blood Sugar Sex Magic or Californication for number one, because we listened to Blood Sugar Sex Magic so much together. Yeah. But yeah, Californication. My number one is
Baby Shark.
Jeez, way to ruin it. Baby Shark. No, mine is, and a lot of people, I talked to people about it, I was like, I've said this is my favorite album forever. It got stolen out of my car when I got my car broken into in LA, so it was obviously that person's favorite album because I had a $400 leather jacket that was left. This is a band that some people have probably heard of, maybe others
Can
haven't.
I guess
it's
it?
Sergeant...
Damn it, I was going to guess Sgt. Pepper.
Yeah, it's Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It is an album that I have listened to, I don't even know how many times, because I listened to it, and then my mom's like, all you do is play on the computer. She got the actual CD version for me of it, so it would sound better. And then it got stolen. I actually cried when I saw it got stolen. I teared up. I was like, even though you can have it on your iTunes and stuff, it was just the fact that I lost the artwork. I lost that. I love that people make renditions of different artwork with the album cover. A Day in the Life is maybe the coolest song ever written. That can be argued, I guess, but I love. It's in a way it's like the Grateful Dead because it's one long song in a way, but it's also solo songs. I'm never going to be disappointed if this album's on. I'm never going to change it. If I'm listening to the Beatles Sunday morning program, Breakfast with the Beatles out here, and this is what they're doing, they're focusing on Sgt. Pepper's, then maybe I'm going to be late to work. Because I'm not saying anything different.
If you want, I can probably download the tracks off Napster and then burn you a CD.
I mean, that's different. I mean, I have it on, you know what I mean. Napster would be fun to have. It'd be fun to have that as the program, but
right.
Yeah, no, this is just
LimeWire.
Oh yeah, LimeWire was so much faster. My roommate and I were able to tap into the actual school system, and we were downloading music 5 times faster than everyone else. And then the school found out and asked us how we did it. Anyhow, I digress. Yeah, no, I just love this album. I love the Beatles are my favorite band. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying anything new. I'm not saying anything different with this. And sometimes being basic, there's a reason that the Beatles are really good. Whether you consider them the best, for me, to anyone say it's the best band ever, it's your best band ever. Everybody's best band ever is different. I love this, and you can go any different way, but for me, Sgt. Pepper's is my favorite.
Okay, so that concludes our lists of our top 10 favorite albums. I had a lot of fun. We got some great feedback from the audience on their list. If you want to get in on that, the next time we do one of these lists, and I'm sure it'll be something in the vein of, top 10 movies or top 10 television series, maybe top 10 games, whatever. Get involved. Leave us a message. BeXtraGpodcast@gmail.com. We now have a Facebook page, so you can comment there as well. We also have a BeXtraG Podcast specific Instagram. I would invite people to, when this goes live, I think I'm going to publish this on Tuesday, the 27th. So when this goes live, episode 5 will be out in the wild. It'll have been out in the wild here for a few days. I think episode 5 is by far our funniest episode. The topics might be a little bit weaker than some of the other episodes, but I think by far it's the funniest episode we've done. So I hope
we make up for it with laughs. Don't worry about the content. Get ready for the laughs.
Yeah, you've
already listened to it at this point, but
right,
it was a lot of fun. Yeah,
Dunkachino. So hopefully, you check that out. Leave kind reviews. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Follow us on Instagram at BeXtraG Podcast, and then at Y2B and at GT Filson?
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't remember if that one was GT Fills or not. Facebook, head over to the Facebook page, like, share, subscribe, leave us kind reviews, share us with everybody you know, yell at people across the street, hey, listen
Tell
to
your
this
mothers.
podcast.
Just don't tell my mom to listen to this.
Because she'll be upset with you?
She's not. She's just going to be like, Brenton's list was way better. What were you doing?
Well,
no, she knows me. She knows. She's not going to be surprised.
Right.
She's just going to like your list better. She's just going to think you have better musical taste in rock music, and I didn't pick anything other than the Killers.
Yeah.
And the Beatles. The Beatles are rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
something else on there, didn't you? Maybe not.
Michael Jackson Bad is pretty close to rock music.
Yeah.
As far as pop music goes, it's pretty close to rock music.
I mean, Smooth Criminal, Bad. Yeah, I might.
Dirty Diana.
Dirty Diana. I might let you have that one.
Yeah.
But I was really surprised that you didn't have Stone Temple Pilots on there.
You know what happened? You know what happened is it was my favorite album is their compilation album, Thank You.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so because it's so good, and like they have Purple is their best album.
Yeah, that's the one I had, and then I called the Audible.
Right, and that was my thing. I had Purple in like that 13, 14.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't move up high enough because honestly, like the last times I've listened to Stone Temple Pilots, it's always been Thank You because their hits are so much better than their not hits.
Right.
As much as I love them.
Yeah,
but their hits are
that's true.
They're as a compilation album. There's a chance that's number one actually for me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'd probably put the Chili Peppers' greatest hits up there. Skin and Bones.
If we're going specifically compilation rock, it is number one. I'm telling you right now, it's number one for me.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, compilation rock.
Anyway, like, subscribe, share, leave us kind reviews.
And Nickelback.
And that's it. That's all for us today.
And we mentioned them one more time.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What's worse than being alone on Valentine's Day?
I don't know. What's worse?
Nickelback. Take care, guys.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Tell your mothers.